Kaibar was no ordinary battlefield. It was a fortress of giants. The strongest warriors of Islam tried to breach its gates and failed. When all hope faded, a single warrior stepped forward. His name was Ali, and what he did that day still echoes through history like thunder. Please, before we start this video, do not forget to say alayhi salatu wasalam each time the Prophet is mentioned. After years of war and betrayal, the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam turned his eyes toward a growing threat, Kaibar. Here, all tribes who had plotted against Islam were gathering.
His reach grows every day. Even our allies will bow to him.
The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, in his pacifist nature, did not want war. But for Kaibar, no other alternatives were offered to him. War was the only path to peace. Kaibar tribes had broken pacts, financed armies, and ignited battles. All from behind fortress walls, they built alliances with Quraysh and gathered 10,000 fighters to get rid of Islam once for all in the Khandaq War. So the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam set out with a force of 1,400 believers toward a fortress protected by colossal walls, weapons, and vengeance. Kaibar walls were not like those of normal fortress. They were huge. Its warriors were skilled combatants, and its commander, Marhab, a giant of 2.5 meters, was known as one of the deadliest swordsmen in Arabia.
I'm Marhab, the strongest swordsman of Khaybar.
Kaibar had an army of 10,000 skilled and trained fighters, armed with the most advanced weapons at that time. Inside the fortress, they had water sources and food supply that could last for 1 year at least. But to take extra safety, Kaibar also bribed an Arab tribe named Ghatafan with 4,000 fighters to come fight along against the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. 14,000 men were against the army of Islam. Yet no believer doubted Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. They believed in him, and Allah started their journey of 150 kilometers from Medina to Kaibar. The 4,000 men that were bribed to attack the Muslims were easily defeated. Talha ibn Ubaidillah and Said ibn Zayd, equivalent to Muslim secret services, initiated rumors in the 4,000-men army. The rumor said Muslims had 2 huge armies. One went to Kaibar, and another one went to Ghatafan. Hearing those news, the 4,000 men were concerned about their families, so mid-journey to Kaibar, they turned around and went back to their tribe, increased their defenses, waited for weeks for the Muslim imaginary army. After a long road, Muslims finally arrived to Kaibar. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam advanced in front of the army to give his final instructions. Don't attack them at night to not scare children's. Don't kill women, children's or elderly people. Don't cut a tree. Don't burn crops. Don't destroy a house. Don't hurt people in churches or synagogues. The Muslims laid siege for weeks. They tried to break the gate. They launched attack after attack. They sent their bravest, but each day ended in failure. The strongest fighters of Islam had tried and failed. The banner of Islam was passed from one brave man to the next. But each night, The Muslims returned with losses, wounds, and no victory. Kaibar stood unbroken. Food was running low. Fatigue clung to every soldier. Some began to question, how long could this last? Others whispered, will Kaibar be our defeat? And then the Prophet ﷺ spoke words that struck lightning into the hearts of the believers. Tomorrow I will give the banner to a man who loves Allah and His Messenger, and is loved by Allah and His Messenger. He will conquer Kaibar by the will of Allah. In few words, he was able to change their spirit. In one sentence, our beloved Prophet ﷺ changed the mindset of the whole army. People were no longer thinking about fatigue or their deep wounds. Instead, their focus was God, His Messenger, and victory. Even with their exhaustion, they couldn't sleep. One question couldn't leave their minds. Who will conquer Kaibar tomorrow? Even Omar, radiyallahu anhu, said, my whole life I did not desire to be a leader, except for Kaibar night. Early in the morning, the Prophet ﷺ asked to bring the banner to him. All eyes followed the banner. Then waited the Prophet ﷺ to pronounce the name of the awaited leader. It was Imam Ali. But Ali was injured. His eyes were swollen. He couldn't see. How can the strongest companions as failed and Ali with his swollen eyes win tomorrow? The Prophet ﷺ called Ali forward. He touched his eyes, and like a miracle, Ali was healed. Years after the war, Imam Ali said that by Allah, the moment he touched my eye, it was as if nothing had ever happened. I wish I had not raised my head again, so that his blessed hand would remain on my eye forever. Once healed, with the banner in hand, he marched toward the gate that had resisted all others. He marched forward, alone, toward a fortress that 1,400 men couldn't conquer for weeks. He did not turn his head once. Enemies were shocked, and allies were inspired by his confidence. Marhab, the huge, skilled swordsman, felt intimidated, but had to face Ali in a duel to protect his reputation in front of his men's. Marhab started saying some poetry to show that he had no fear, opened the doors of the fortress and advanced toward Ali. Kaibar knows that I am Marhab, armed to the teeth and fully brave. When battle flames and heroes fall, I stand like a lion, tall and grave. Ali ibn Talib responded, I am the one my mother named Haider, a lion in the jungle, fierce and proud. With a blade that cuts like thunder's roar, I'll bring your boasting to the ground. Marhab swung with fury, but Ali dodged easily and struck back. Ali's blow was so quick, powerful, and precise that it was deadly. Ali killed Marhab instantly despite his heavy protections, and this in one hit. Both companions and enemies were shocked. They did not expect for the fight to be finished in one blow. Marhab was one of the best swordsmen in his time. After seeing their leader being defeated in one blow, the fortress gates were shut rapidly. But for Ali ibn Talib, karamallahu wajha, this was not enough. He had a duty toward his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and was even ready to give his life for God and his messenger. He advanced calmly in front of the massive wall, planted the Islam banner given by his beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and with a strong Allahu Akbar, he tore the iron door from its hinges. He held it high like a shield. With it he fought, deflected arrows, and pressed through the fortress defenses. Behind him, the Muslim army surged forward. Following the young pure leader's steps, the tide of the battle turned. Kaibar army was in state of shock. Fear and surprise freezed them. The fortress of Kaibar, once thought unbreakable, fell in minutes. But after the crashing wind, The Muslims did not burn the land. They did not slaughter the people who fought them and tried to harm them for years. Muslim army chose peace. Also, the leaders of Kaibar, realizing their defeat, approached under a flag of truce. They sought safety for their people and their lands. The Prophet listened to their request patiently, his gaze calm, his manner composed. They proposed a solution, that the Muslim army would spare their lives, and in return they would accept Muslim rule and give up half of the produce of their fertile lands, the dates and crops of Kaibar, every year. From that day, Kaibar became part of the Muslim realm, its wealth contributing to the strength of the community, its people living under the security of the treaty. It was a reminder that the Prophet's victories were not measured only by swords, but by the treaties that preserved life, established justice, and laid the foundation for lasting order. Sadly, Kaibar tribes did not honor their duty to the Prophet for a long time. The following year, the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, had sent Ibn Rawaha to Kaibar to assess the harvest and ensure a fair division, half for the Muslims, half for the locals, as per the treaty. Some of the Kaibar leaders, hoping to get a more favorable assessment, offered him a bribe in the form of their best produce. Ibn Rawaha firmly refused and said, "By Allah, I have come to you from the most beloved of people to me. But my hatred for you will not lead me to wrong you. The bribe you offer is forbidden." The locals admitted, "It is by this justice that the heavens and the earth stand." This moment became a powerful example in Islamic history of justice in governance and refusing corruption, even with those one dislikes. As a fan fact, after the battle, Muslims wanted to lift the door that was used by Imam Ali as a shield. 7 tried, then 10, then more, but they couldn't pick it up from the ground. In some narrations, Ali had the strength of 40 men. But when Fatima, radiyallahu anha, the beloved daughter of the Prophet and the cherished wife of Ali, passed away, Imam Ali stood again before something massive, something immovable. But this time, it was not a fortress gate. It was her still body, wrapped in the shroud. His arms, once strong enough to lift a gate meant for an army, felt weak and trembling. The weight was not in the body, but in the heart. In Kaibar, his strength broke iron and wood. In Medina, his grief bent his knees. There he needed no one to help him bear the gate. Here, he could not carry her alone without the help of others.